guys, welcome back. So today's video is the requested get to know me video, or kind of like a Q&A too. So I have written down the questions that you guys have asked me, and I'm just gonna go through and answer them. I asked on Instagram and Twitter and on one of my other videos that you guys could ask me anything that you wanted to know, and I will answer them to the best of my comfort level. The first question is, how old am I? I am 33 years old, and I will be 34 years old in November. Next question is, do I have siblings? Yes, I do. I have a younger sister. Her name is Elise, and she lives back in the Boston area, around where my father lives, and pretty much where I grew up for the majority of my life. I'll show a picture of her and I when we were kids, and I'll also show one that is more current. She looks more like my dad, and I think I look more like my mom. Has now 3 little kids that are my nieces and nephew, and I love them. They are adorable kids. I love those kids so much. I try to spoil them when at all possible. Next question is, when did I start loving makeup? I'll get into some of my family history in a little bit, but I've pretty much grown up. I have grown up in the beauty business, as did my sister. More so along nail salons and beauty distributors that are going to be aimed towards professional hairdressers and nail techs, not so much, not makeup brands. I would say, you know, I've always liked makeup. When I was young, my mom didn't let me wear makeup because when you're younger, you should be a child and not partaking in adult things. So my mom let me start wearing some, like around 9th grade, I think. And so I really had like mostly mineral makeup, or I mean, nothing too over the top. In college, I used to go like ham with black eyeliner. I always really liked makeup, but I didn't really start getting good at it, like better at my eyeshadows and things like that, until I was living in Arizona, I'll say. And I really, really got good at it when I moved to San Francisco a little more, almost 4 years ago now. That's when my vanity went from a Hollywood vanity set up, like the long one that's still in my bedroom, and a little mirrored vanity from Pier 1 to the monstrosity that we now see behind me. I kind of have a very passionate personality, so when I make my mind or set my mind on something, I become like utterly, that little meme, I'll post a picture where it's like how my mind works is utterly obsessed or completely uninterested. That is sums me up in a nutshell. So when I decide that I want to do something or I like it, I want to learn all about it. I want everything. That's just how I am. I would say probably when I turned 30, I really started getting more into intricate eye looks and things like that. Next question is, what is the first makeup brand I ever wore? To tell you the truth, I would have to say the first thing would have probably been CoverGirl. It was probably one of those little compacts of powder that I used to just put on my face when I was in high school. In all honesty, any girls that are, you know, if you don't have a job and your parents are paying for your stuff, first of all, I would be like, a compact of powder, that's all you need. But you know, even when you're first starting out, you have to have priorities. You know, if you're working, I think your money should go towards cars and I don't know, different things like that. So I think drugstore makeup brands are awesome. I mean, you can get everything that you need to do a full face at the drugstore. The next question is where I went to college and what I majored in. I went to a college that was about an hour and a half away from my hometown, and it was the University of Massachusetts, the Amherst campus. I attended from 99 to 2003. I've always been a year younger than everybody in my class because my mother, I was right at the cusp of the age cutoff, and I started preschool when I was really young. I believe I was 4 years old. 3 or 4. I majored in economics and art history. And then one more question I had about just my educational background. Again, I told you I went to UMass Amherst for economics and art history about 6 years after school when I was living in Arizona, and the market started crashing in finance, and it was a very stressful job. I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. What do I want to do? And I thought, oh, I'm going to go get my doctor of pharmacy and be a pharmacist. So I went back to school. I went to ASU, and I was majoring in chemistry, and I took some biochem and organic chem, and I thought that I wanted to put in another 3 years. So I went back to school for 2 more years, and I just was like, this is not for me. So that's where some of that stuff comes from. Next question is, what are my animals and what are their names? So first, Dee Dee, look. This is my miniature pinscher named Dior. Aww, I love her so much. She's 13 years old. Let me go put her down now. Now I have hair on me. She's sitting in the chair behind me, keeping me company, if you see that little head. She always is by my side wherever I go. I got her my senior year of college. And basically, I was obsessed with getting a small dog. So I used to bartend in college at Applebee's, actually. And so every Saturday I opened the bar, and when I would go in there, after all the setup was done, there was always a paper, and I would always flip through, just kind of looking through the classifieds, and I wanted a dog so bad. So all the time I was like, hey, a small dog, get me a small dog. I want a small dog. I was on that small dog trip. So I think it was our 2-year anniversary. Maybe it was 3. 2 or 3. I can't remember now. Anyway, I wanted a dog so bad, and my boyfriend at the time, his name was Tim, he came into work and he had this little tiny dog. I'm gonna post a picture of her. She was so tiny, she fit in the palm of my hand, and I was so excited. This next fella, I'm sure you've seen cameos in my video. Massimo, say hi. This is my cat, Massimo. You little fella? He's so cute. He has calming colors on. I'm not sure of his exact age because I'm normally not a cat person. I grew up with cats, but I like dogs that kind of want me around a little more than cats that seem pretty indifferent. But one morning my boyfriend was leaving for work, and he texted me and said, did you see the kitten in the hallway? And I was like, what? So I went out there, and some jerk left this cute little orange fur ball in the top of what looked like a printer box in front of the elevator of on my floor, and my door's right out front of the elevator. And it had a little pink towel in there and a little pink bell collar on, and it looked like it was maybe a plastic container that had once had like tuna in it or something, but no water. And this little cat jumps right out of the top of the box and came over and started rubbing up against my leg, and I was like, oh God. And I live in a pretty small apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, and the second bedroom is my vanity and my work office / closet. And I was thinking, like, where are we gonna have room for a litter box or anything like that? I brought the cat in, and I asked all my friends if anybody that already had a cat wanted a cat, and they all said that their existing cat would beat that cat up. So I called the apartment and I asked them what they would do with a cat, and they said that they would give it to the pound, and I love animals. I couldn't have that. So I told them okay, and I went up the street to a local pet store, and I bought him a cat condo, cat food, litter boxes, everything, catnip toys, everything that he could need, and that day I got a cat. So he is awesome though. He's such a unique cat personality. He's kind of like a cat dog. I thought he was a girl at first because of the pink towel and the pink bow on his neck, and I couldn't see any like man bits on the cat. But you know, a couple days later, while I was waiting for his vet, I made a vet appointment, and a couple days later, all of a sudden I see these big cat things on the back. I was like, whoa, it is. I named him Lucy at first because I thought he was a girl, but he's a boy. So I was about to leave on a big work trip. I was really trying to hustle to get the vet to take him in before I left to make sure that he was okay before I left them with my animal sitter. And he had this like mark. I saw the spot in his ear, and so I went to just like scratch it, flick it away. I thought it was a piece of litter, and it moved, and I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, he has fleas. So that night, we had to have an emergency appointment to give him the flea medication. You see him down there? He likes to sunbathe. To get him the flea medication, and then once we went back to the vet for his whole checkup, he actually had worms from eating the fleas. And I'm assuming that's why somebody stuck him in the hallway, or maybe they didn't pay their pet deposit. So, like we have pet rent here. It's an extra $50 a month for your pets plus a deposit. So maybe I don't know what their rationing was behind it, but I don't think that you should ever take responsibility for something and just ditch it, especially a life. So anyway, I love my little fur babies. They're awesome. Massimo is more of like a daddy's boy. Like, he loves Keegan. Him and Keegan wrestle around all the time, and Keegan looks like, I don't even know, like he stuck his hand in a briar patch or something, because he has cuts all over him all the time from him. So I'm not quite sure how old he is. We've had him going on 3 years now, so a decent amount of time. So he's probably 3.5, maybe 4. The next question I got was what my first tattoo was. I'm gonna do a whole video on my tattoos. The first tattoo I got was, as funny as this is, a Chinese character for love on my hip, which I know in retrospect that would be like an Asian person getting love in English written on them. I think that the symbol for it is beautiful, and if any of you ladies are as old as me, you remember Contempo Casuals. I used to shop in there pretty often, and it was a sticker that they had in their little display cases up front when you were ringing up, and I got that and I loved it, and I held on to it for years until I finally got that symbol on me, which I still love it. I think it's beautiful. This one right here. The next question is, how did Keegan and I meet? Keegan and I actually, okay, so I am from the Boston area. I'm from Massachusetts. I was actually born in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we moved around a little bit to California, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and then to Massachusetts. My parents were in the Air Force, and so actually I was conceived over in Germany, and then they were stationed at Nellis, and that's where I was born. We left there, I think, about after 3 months, so I wasn't there very long, but I moved from Massachusetts after I was done with school. I moved to Arizona because my mom had taken a job for the PBA that puts on all the Cosmoprof shows. They put together all the Professional Beauty Association beauty shows. So my mom took a job with them from the current distributorship that she was with in New England, and I just thought I was kind of in a rut, and my boyfriend that had got me that dog, I was just like, you know, I didn't even know what I wanted to do after school, so I didn't really have any plans. I was thinking of just extending my lease and maybe continuing to bartend for a little bit until I figured out what I wanted to do. My boyfriend at the time, he had switched schools in between, so he had to do another semester. So I just was thinking, oh, I'd stay there. But I just got in a rut, and I'm pretty impulsive sometimes, so I just decided, hey, I think when I go visit my mom in 2 weeks, I'm just gonna move there. My parents got divorced my senior year of college as well. So I thought, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So I opened up my condo and I gave away everything that wasn't my clothes, and I put those on a pallet and I shipped that. And then anything that wouldn't fit in my car, like I took my TV, which at the time was like one of those big back TVs. I think it was like 32 inches, maybe it was 36. And I put a dog bed on top of that in the back of my, what was I driving? Pontiac Grand Am. That's what I had, a maroon one. And my dog, little tiny Dior, sat on the top of that bed, and my mom and I would take turns driving, so my mom ended up flying out to Massachusetts to drive back with me, and Dior would pull the elastics out of her hair and chomp, and she peed in every state, cross-country almost, I mean through the path, and we made it in 3 days, because we drove 10 hours a day, like, trying to get it done, because that was a haul. So, I moved to Arizona, and I lived in Arizona for almost 9 years. I was working, before I moved from Arizona, I was working at a company called Beauty Systems Group, which is BSG, which is the company that owns Sally's, that's their retail store, and also all the Cosmoproфs, which are the professional stores, and I was a rep for them. They call them DSCs, which are salon consultants. And I got offered the job with my current company. They actually called me and said they wanted to bring me up to Las Vegas, where they were having a show, and they wanted to interview me. So I left that night, got to Las Vegas, interviewed. They offered me the position, and they said, well, okay, we'll need you in Northern California in 2 weeks. And I was like, I had never even been to Northern California. The farthest up I'd ever been was to LA, and I just thought, oh, you know, I'm due for a change. I had been with my boyfriend at the time for 4 years, and I don't know, I just felt like we weren't really going anywhere, and I wasn't completely happy. I was kind of being a troll. So I just went home and I said, hey, I took the job and I'm moving to San Francisco in 2 weeks. He was like, okay. So I packed my car up. I had movers come and move my part of the house that was there. And I got in my car and I drove up here. And the first time I had seen Northern California was the day I moved here. And I just figured if I could live in Amherst, Massachusetts, where it's like, you know, you're pretty out in the country there. I'm like, I can live anywhere, and I'm always up for an adventure. So it was the best move I've ever made. So when I moved to Arizona, I didn't know anybody but my mother either. And when I moved up here, I didn't know a single soul. But I'm going off topic. The way Keegan and I met was, Keegan actually is born in Iowa. He moved from Iowa to Arizona, and he pretty much grew up in Arizona from, I think, 3rd or 4th grade on, all the way through college he did. And then he moved out to Arizona 6 months before I did, but I never knew him in Arizona. I played in an adult kickball league in Arizona, and a girl that we played with, her name was Estella. She, after I had moved up here, I was actually, my company put me in a hotel for 2 months while I figured out where I wanted to live and all of that good stuff. So she had just emailed me on Facebook and said, hey Steph, I know that you just moved up there and that you don't know anybody. She said, my roommate, this guy I lived with for like 6 years, they all rented rooms out in this house. She said he moved there about 6 months ago, and so she connected us that way. And at the time, obviously, like, I was still going through the breakup with my boyfriend, and he had a girlfriend at the time, and we just were friends in the beginning, but we had a lot of the same hobbies. Like, we both snowboard, and we both like surfing, and I don't know, we're very similar. And so things with him and his girlfriend didn't work out, and I was single, he was single, we started dating, and I think the best relationships start out of the ones that you're friends first. How long have we been together? We will actually officially celebrate our 3-year anniversary on September 23rd. So now I'm going to start getting into the questions that I get asked the most, and they are all regarding my job, and I understand the interest in that. So let me kind of do them in order as they'll try to make sense. Number one is, what do I do for work? Okay, this is multifaceted and it can be very confusing. I can say I probably did my job for a year before I could explain what it is I do. I have a position called a manufacturer's representative. Basically, I'm going to try to put it into a nutshell of what I do. I basically bring new professional beauty brands to market, and I service existing brands while helping expand their market share. I'm in charge of sales in all of Northern California and Northern Nevada. I provide education for the stores, And I also do what we call detailing with sales reps that call on salons from, again, professional distributorships. I have a many $million book of business that I am responsible for. My job is 100% commission, so that can be stressful at times. It definitely has to be a position that you are financially stable before you take, because you don't get paid for 2 months at first, because the way that the pay cycle goes, I only get paid when my customers pay, and then it's like a whole nother month cycle after that. I do work in the professional sector of this business. I was asked what the difference between professional, what that means. Okay, so there is retail and professional. Retail is going to 99% of the viewers that are watching this right now, those people that are the end user. Professional is going to the people that will then sell it again. So it will go to distributors, to salons that then will sell it. I don't work on the retail side of it. So something like Tweezerman is a brand that my company represents. I sell to all professional distributors in Northern California and Nevada. However, something like there's lots of Sephora's all around. Sephora is handled by their mass retail division. That's not, I do all the professional stuff. So I actually am trying to work on projects for Sephora right now, but Ulta is handled out of it. They do all their buying out of Chicago. So that is actually another rep that I work. So I work with account. I do have some, we call them independents, OTCs, which are over the counter, which is retail talk. I do have some of those accounts. They do need to buy on very large scales from me. Like, it's not something you can be like, oh, I want 5 or 6 nail polishes. It's not like that. They have to hit thousands of dollars, certain amount of pieces. Every line is different. It's our job to help with marketing strategy, helping with sell-through, education, market planning, forecasts, lots of reports, brand management, inventory management. It's many facets of it. In the beginning, it was very overwhelming. It's not a job, in my opinion, that you can hop right into. I had significant sales behind me before I came in to work with my current company. I believe almost 10 years. I had almost 10 years of experience after college until when I took this position. You kind of have to work your way up. I get a lot of questions asking, people asking how to make it in the beauty business. My sister is a hairdresser. My mother was trained as a hairdresser and then changed her focus into nails. So again, I grew up in the industry and just working shows. That's going to get you experience. Tons of companies will hire people just for show help. So there's tons of shows in Las Vegas. There's a huge one in Long Beach that they hire people for. There is one in Orlando. There's ABS and Chicago. They're kind of all over. So always look in your paper, or if you know an independent house like Cosmoprof is not going to hire independent show help, but a lot of the mom and pop run places will. Like there used to be Shakur's in New England, but they have now sold to BSG, which is Beauty Systems Group, Cosmoprof, Sally's. So they won't anymore, but there are places down in LA, especially like Elegante, or any of those like Barbara's, KB's, any of that stuff down south will a lot of times look for help to help staff their shows. That will help if you go in and you want to work in the store. That would really help you as well. I think people with training and to be a hairdresser, if you've been to hairdressing school, because you need to be able to answer formulation questions from hairdressers. You're going to need to be able to understand mixing ratios, the color wheel, lots and lots of stuff. I would find it very overwhelming to just jump right into, and because the companies that will own multi-brands, if I broke it down by brands, it's like, since I've been with the company, like 64 probably that we have represented, and I think currently I probably have 30 something or 40 something. Oh, okay, and again, let me go back a little bit. So manufacturer's representative, what is that? So basically the companies that produce the beauty products, like Sunday Riley is a manufacturer, right? She's manufacturing this product, and basically I you could think of it as like a broker, right? Like I would go into Sephora and I would tell them, hey, this is a new brand we have. These are the products. This is what it does. This is where you're lacking in your offerings to your customers. This is what we can do to fill it. A lot of times they'll come back and say, we want an exclusive with this product. We need this kind of pricing, this kind of dating. We need to be able to give you returns and blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff. So that's what I do, because a lot of these companies, they don't have a sales force. You know, they spend all their money on their manufacturing and everything else. They don't have designated sales force in their territory that have the relationships with their customers that I already have. So I have about 91 accounts around the Bay and in Nevada. And I've been doing this job almost a little more than 3.5 years right now. So my job is very confusing. I don't want to say where I work specifically because there are some lunatics out there, and I just don't want a conflict of interest, and I mean, you just never know. The next question was, does my product knowledge, I'll refer to it as PK, come from schooling or personal interest? I am trained in every single new line that comes out. For instance, one of the brands that my company was responsible for bringing to market was Pravana hair color. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. They make those really cool, vivid colors as well. We're no longer affiliated with them. But when we were, I was trained on all of their products, all of their hair color, their strengths, everything. And then you go into the stores, so Salon Centric sells them. So then you would go into Salon Centric and you would train all of the staff people in there to be able to better serve the customers that come in. You would go in detail with their outside sales force that call on salons to help increase sales. So a lot of it is from classes and education that I get from my work. A lot of it also is from my mom. Again, I'll get into that in a minute. And my sister's a hairdresser, so any questions that I have that I don't know, I can always bounce off the two of them too, and we kind of form like a Megatron of beauty. So there are, I believe, 55 reps that work in my company. We are the only global and the largest sales force in the professional beauty industry. Jobs like mine, I'm going to be very honest with you, they are very, very hard to come by. I am the youngest rep by, I don't know, about 20 something years in my company. That people they have to die. They won't even retire because these jobs, I mean, this is a great job. It's fun, and you know, it's not life or death. What I did before, I worked in finance, and I mean, those were people like losing their homes, losing their life savings. I mean, that will, that gets to you, and it's hard to be positive when you're inundated with negativity. And so this is not life or death. This is shampoo and conditioner, nail polish. You know, I really enjoy my job, and it's a high maintenance girl's heaven because we do get every single new product sent to us to show out in the field, to test ourselves, to talk about its strengths, and so that's what I will say. The next question is 2 parts. How and when I decided to start a YouTube channel. What made me want to do it? I started this YouTube channel a couple days before my birthday, this past November. So it's been 9 months since I've started this. How I started was originally I just had like my stuff that was up in my office. I just did it against this back wall. I had a little painting there, and I had a little end table right there, and I just sat up this, I have a Canon T5i camera in the middle of a Diva ring light. I get that question a lot too. I'll link all this stuff below. On a tripod. And then I use 3-point lighting. So I have the light in front of me. I have a light right back here that provides some fill, and back there as well, to make sure that there's no shadows behind you. What made me want to start doing it? My increase with, I figure already for work, I already know a lot, and I love watching YouTube. I pretty much don't even really watch TV. I watch a lot of YouTube. While I love watching a lot of girls' hauls and different things, I mean, it's perfectly acceptable to buy something because it's pretty, but I was just more interested in the why and how things performed, and so I thought that I would be interested in doing this in my spare time. I've worked very hard to get where I am in my job, and I will never leave it for something like this. Only because, not to knock anybody that does, but I personally don't think it could make me the money that I want to make. So I will never be leaving my job. Frankly honest, when I moved here, since I don't have an office job, like our headquarters is in Valencia and we also have an office in the Midwest, all of the salespeople work remotely in our given territory, and so this second bedroom acts as my office as well. Like in the bay window over there, I have my desk and my computer, and on this wall I have a whole sample wall. I would do a room tour, but I also have 2 huge shoe racks in here and surfboards and golf clubs, so it's kind of like a mess. It's not super pretty like all of these other girls' spaces. Space is limited here. It's odd. I consider that I have I know a ton of people, and I do consider I have quite a few friends, a lot of friends, but I have not had any great girlfriends locally here to me in San Francisco. I do get a lot of visitors that come because this is an amazing city, and so I do have people in and out here, but since I don't have a work environment like an office here, and I didn't go to school here, meeting people my own age I find very difficult. I should probably start playing kickball or something again, but between work and I volunteer with the YMCA, it's very time consuming, and so I don't really have the energy to go out and play a game of kickball afterwards and then go out to a bar with people afterwards because I'm exhausted and I need to make sure that I'm really sharp for work, and I don't mess around when it comes to making money and work. So that is, family is right here, family and love life and work. I mean, it's right there. So that's where I am trying to put all my hustle and grind into. So without having a ton of girlfriends, I thought that this would be fun. It gives me an outlet to be able to come and interact with ladies that share my same interest, and that's why I do it. The next question someone asked me are, what are some of my pet peeves? I really don't have any about, however anybody else chooses to look, that's none of my business, nor does it have the smallest effect on my life. So none of that stuff bothers me. What does bother me is really rude and entitled people with no manners that are very rude. Like some people, and I understand, I think something that always makes me laugh is when you're watching people's videos and someone will just like come out swinging with something so rude and off the cusp. It's like, what are these people talking about? And then below, someone can maybe sometimes defend them, say, hey, that it's not nice to say that, and then the person will come back with, oh, well, you know what? It's constructive criticism, and if they didn't want it, they shouldn't put their life on the internet. It's like, to me, that rationale is like when a man can say that a woman asked to be raped because she was wearing a skirt, or the way that you dress is making men think that it's entitled, that they can do what they want with you. It's like, are you shitting me? Like, get out of here with that. Like, get out of here with that. People coming on and it's like, okay, well, how about this? Set a profile picture of what you look like and let me tell you something about you that you don't know. Like, I just think, if people have requests, they want to say, hey, maybe next time, could you try to swatch closer, or it would be helpful. Oh my God, I will bend over backwards for those people. The people that want to come out and tell me, like, your camera is not focusing, or blah, blah, blah. It's like, what do you want me to do? I shoot the whole video and go back. That stuff, that tries on my nerves. The people that think they're Steven Spielberg of YouTube, it's like, get out of here. I had some people tell me I'm expressionless. Some of the things I really laugh at, especially that I at first would try to explain, like, not everybody is doing backflips and super animated on like Ritalin. I am I'm sitting in a room by myself, talking to a camera by myself. How animated do you want me to be? I'm also not super young like a lot of these girls. I don't know. I'm not a dancing monkey. Other pet peeves. I really don't like weak women. I know that maybe sound really kind of harsh and judgmental. Now, when I say it out loud, it sounds really harsh and kind of judgmental. But I don't like women that always ask their boyfriends or husbands. I mean, I understand that there are women that are, at-home moms, and to me, that is the hardest job in the world. My sister does that, and I would beg, like, please let me go to work, you stay home, because it is mentally and physically exhausting. But those people are still working. What I don't like is couples that don't have kids that will say, like, oh, honey, can you buy me this pair of shoes? Honey, can you buy me this purse? Why? Are you an invalid? Can you not take care of yourself? Why are you asking him to do that? Do it for yourself. I don't like that stuff. I understand when it's an at-home mom, and she's saying, the husband's bringing in the physical cash, and so they're like, oh, discussing what they're going to do. I get that. What I don't like I just said, it's like, go out and hustle and be proud of what you earn on your own. It'll be a cold day in hell before I am rocking any kind of bag that any man bought me that I asked for. I just think I'll get all my own things. I will have to say I'm probably gonna get chastised for this as well. I find the sheer amount of people that say that they constantly have anxiety, I think sometimes that's just life. Like, I was diagnosed with when I was working in the finance industry, and I was constantly stressed out that I had generalized anxiety disorder, because I was kind of a worrywart as a little kid as well. And so I lost about 6 years of my life to being sedated. That's just what I'll call it. Is I was on medicine from my doctor that anytime, I felt slight stress, I would take a sedative, and I felt like I was going through my life with gauze wrapped around my eyes, and I just look at it as like, what a waste. And I think so many people, like, life is stressful. That it's stressful. There is going to be deadlines and, bills and jobs, and people aren't going to always be happy. And I think that, you just need to kind of man up and handle the situation. I think so many people will say, oh, I can't go here, I have social anxiety. Oh, I can't face this because I have anxiety. It's like, I've never seen so many people. I'm like, does everybody have a damn anxiety disorder? I don't know. I'm sure that there are people that really, really have them, and I can tell you there were times that I was kind of paralyzed by that feeling. But what that challenged me to do when I started realizing what I was doing by taking these pills, I thought, oh my God, I'm like a drug addict. I'm someone that's taking something to change the way that I'm acting. And instead I just thought, I never want to need anything. I don't ever want to be dependent on anything. I'm going to change my environment, change my job, get myself out of those constantly stressful situations. Because who wants to be around someone that talks about all the time, I'm stressed, this is stressful, I'm stressed. It's like, oh my God. To me, that's like people that are constantly complaining. Like, my knee hurts, my leg hurts, I'm sick, blah. And I'll tell you this, when I first moved to San Francisco, since it's such, a densely populated city, it took me about, honestly, like a year and a half almost of living here for my body to acclimate to the new germ pool up here. So I was constantly catching like 24-hour bugs, and there are a lot of homeless people. So shopping carts, I was touching my face, using my phone afterwards. And again, I'm in and out of stores all day long. So I was getting sick kind of for a while, and I was thinking, like, God, my friends must be like, ugh, what are you, the bubonic plague, like an incubator of disease? So that stuff is not my favorite, to be around people like that. So I just choose to remove myself from the situation. That's pretty much it. I am blessed to know a great group of people that I call my friends, and they are very strong women and with great work ethic and smart and loving and awesome. And I can tell you, it's taken me, I don't know, 20 something years to find these girls, because I had my friends in high school and some other people that I really keep in touch with too, but to find people that thought like me, that have that same drive as me, it was... Next question was regarding my mentor experience. We have confidentiality, so there are a lot of things that obviously I won't discuss, but it has been one of the most meaningful things I have ever done with my life. I didn't realize how important it would become to me, and now I find myself wanting to do more and more. The reason I got involved with it is because my mom left my biological father when I was very small. He was not a very decent man, and I'm not going to get into all of what spurred her leaving, but my mom was from a very abusive household herself when she was younger, and so she just wasn't going to put up with that for me or for her, and so she left. When I was a little baby, my mom was... This makes me emotional. My eyes are starting to water. When I was a little baby, my mom was working as a waitress trying to support me, and my biological father and his family kind of tried to take everything from my mom that they had given for me to make it really difficult, so she would have to go back to him. And she didn't. She held her ground, and we kind of moved around to be with family for a little bit, and then she met the man that is my father, and he was amazing and took care of me just like I was his child. My parents are really my heroes. My eyes are watering. You will never see me up here crying because something that someone says to me online, because that just will not happen. But something like this is happy emotional, so it's making me ooh. And so because of the struggle my mom had when she was a kid, and just knowing what she went through to make sure that she provided for me, I really feel the urge to try to give back to people. I had a roommate in college that committed suicide, and I think that some of those things have deeply affected me to the point where I want to show people that things get better and to not give up hope, and you can make your life whatever it is that you want it. So don't ever think that just because you were dealt with a shitty hand that you can't achieve your dreams. Now my eyes are as red as my eyeshadow that I have underneath them. Sorry. Anyway, so I just feel like it's so nice to have support, and for kids and other people to see that there are people out there that really care and want to look out for you, because in my opinion, blood is not always thicker than water. And I think that having somebody that chooses to be in your life and really take an active role, to me, sometimes that means more than someone that maybe does something really half-assed that's in your family out of obligation, So I don't know. It's been a really important thing to me. It's become a really important part of my life, and I hope to be able to do more over time. My mother is one of my heroes. After high school, she really wanted to get out of her living situation, out of her family's home. She joined the Air Force, and she used to actually disarm bombs. My mom's kind of a badass. She thinks she's like Laura Croft incarnate. I will post a picture of her and I here. I do post some of these pictures on Instagram. If you guys don't follow me, I'll link all my information is always linked below if you're curious. My mom went from, beauty college to working at salons to owning a few salons, and my sister and I used to get out of school and come, and she always had the basement of the salons, kind of like a little playroom for us. Then she went from that to she owned a beauty supply. It was all nail stuff. And then from that, she sold her business, and then she went to work for a company at the time that was the Logics, and when Nexus was professional, the Nexus of New England, the same people that brought Goldwell over from Germany. She worked there for so many years, And then from there, she took a job in Arizona working for the PBA, and then she left there, and now she is the vice president of a Fortune 500 company in the professional beauty industry. I could not be more proud of my mother. She is really the example that set what my work ethic is today. I've never once had anybody ever accuse me of being lazy, except for maybe my parents, of being lazy as a kid. But I've always been a hard worker, and I get that from her. My mom has really just hustled, and she has more experience. I think it's awesome when you really work your way up in industries, because she can speak to everybody. She can speak to the hairdresser, she can speak to the nail tech, she can speak to the distributor, she can speak now to the manufacturer. She's amazing, and she's a very kind person, and she does so much for other people. My mom is awesome. Actually, all the women in my family, I'm really lucky because they're really strong, and my mom's sister, my aunt, is very intelligent, and she was from that same household, and they are just really strong, smart women, and those are my kind of women. The next question was regarding Obagi, my skincare. They asked me why Obagi and how much. I actually had no idea what the heck Obagi was until I went to a med spa here in San Francisco. Basically, I had seen, what was it that I was looking at? Oh, I started doing a bunch of research because of that dark spot I had on my lip and what would get rid of it. And I was on the Perfect Peel website, and I found a local person that did it. And so I went to see, her name is Madeline. I'll link her information below. If you guys are in the Bay, she's amazing. She has an office in Sausalito and one right here in the city. If you go to her Sausalito location, she normally gives you a better pricing, because I'm pretty sure it has to do with her rent is obviously cheaper there. But she's amazing, and she really gave me a skincare plan that got my skin to where it is today, and that's why. How much? Okay, so the big size, like the full size, normal size of the kit, I did the new derm system. I believe that was $499. It might have been $599. I don't remember. Little kit was $399 for the little 2 ounce or 1 ounce travel sizes. It is quite an investment. It did last me, that big size kit probably lasted me 7 or 8 months. And even the small ones would last you, I don't know, around 4. It was the best investment I ever made in my skin. I did 3 full cycles of those kits. And then now I still use the clear, I still use one of the cleansers, the toner, and I don't do the Exoderm or the hydrate. I love their sunscreen, so that's why. Next question I got was kids. Do I have any? No, I do not. My sister is 4.5 years younger than me, and she has 3 of them. She's been married, I don't know, for how long? 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. She has, my niece just turned 5. She has a 3-year-old, and then she just had a brand new baby girl. I would like them one day, I think. I'm not quite sure. I think I do. I was actually born with a condition where my uterus never developed. So basically your uterus is supposed to look like a pear. Mine looks like a bite of a pear. So I've never had a period, anything like that. I still go through the hormonal changes because I still have ovaries that have an abundance of eggs. So basically when an egg is released and it's kind of working down your fallopian tubes, that's what that cramping is sometimes you get too. And when the lining is like shedding, basically mine's just dead. It just sits there. It doesn't do anything. So the egg just dissolves into my body. So if I want to have kids, I'm going to have a surrogate. I'm going to have eggs harvested from me, and fertilized with my husband's sperm and then implanted into a surrogate, or I can adopt, or anything like that, really. Found this out when I was 16 years old, and I'll tell you, I turned into a handful for my parents. I was really kind of angry at the world and started acting like a butthole. I was always very respectful of my parents' wishes, and when all that stuff started happening, I just didn't really understand it, and I was acting out and angry. And people will say, oh, well, there's kids that are fighting cancer, you should be happy you don't have that. But I was like, but that's not what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm dealing with, and this is the worst thing that's happened to me so far. So there is, you know, I understand it may not be the worst thing, but to you, it's your worst thing. Everything's subjective, right? It was hard for me at the time, and you know, as I got older, it was always, it's still a sore spot for me, but you start to realize, you know, it's not even that everyone's not perfect, is that there are plenty of people that have fertility issues and just issues all around, and you know, everybody has their cross to bear in life, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna lay down and die and just give up, or are you just gonna make the best of things? So at some point you kind of gotta pick yourself up by your bootstraps and move on with your life, and so that's what I do. Everybody, you know, Keegan is aware. For a long time, it was something I never felt comfortable discussing because I never wanted anybody to feel bad for me. So I always was very, very kind of secretive with even telling friends or people, because I didn't want anybody to think I was weird or feel bad for me. But now it's just like, I'm an open book. It took me a really long time in my life to finally be comfortable with who I am. It's definitely not something that came very natural to me at first. You guys, and then just to wrap up this video, the last was 15 random facts about me. First, I hate talking on the phone. I despise it. My friends all know this. If somebody calls me, I'm like, oh God, someone must be dead, because my friends only call me if it's like an emergency. Number 2, I love bridges. I don't know why, but I find them so beautiful, especially, well, living here too, like the Golden Gate Bridge. Every day I get to see that is like a treat for me. I'm just fascinated by the engineering on them, and I love them. Number 3, I love kites. There's something so freeing and childlike about flying a kite that I feel very relaxed, and I probably fly kites, I would say 2 times a month or maybe more. Number 4, I am a closet Jet Li fan. I love Jet Li. Number 5, Kung Fu, spy, and vampire movies are my favorite. Number 6, my favorite color is blue. Number 7, I attended 10 schools. 3 all the way up till college. Number 8, I have had my hair pretty much every color under the rainbow. My hair color is one of those things I drastically change constantly, although this is the longest time I've had a hair color. Number 9, I used to play the piano and the violin, and I actually have my violin right in here. Number 10, I can fix almost anything. I can change my own oil in my car. Changing a tire, not a problem, but I can fix any kind of electronic. Like, I can take a whole computer apart. My dad is what I call a computer geek, so I can, when I was younger, he used to give us, like, we wanted CD-ROMs in our computers, like way back in the day, if that tells you how old, and my dad would get it for us and tell us, okay, well, you have to install them in your computer, and you're like, how? He's like, figure it out. So he did that, not to be mean, but to just help us not be helpless, and I'm glad he did, because I can fix toilets, I can fix computers, I can fix any kind of phone issue, camera, you name it, I can figure it out. Number 11, I love metal puzzles. I don't know if any of you guys really like these. These are kind of like those brain teaser or like Mensa puzzles where you have to figure how to take them apart and put them back together. So things like this, they were originally linked, and then you have to figure out how to get them back together. I just like problem solving, things like that. So number 12, I had 3 Vietnamese potbelly pigs and 2 rats growing up as pets. Number 13, every night I fall asleep to Forensic Files. Forensic Files and like the ID channel are really pretty much the only TV I watch. Sometimes Keegan's like, this is really dark to go to sleep to, Steph. He's like, I had a dream that Ted Bundy was coming to kill us. So I guess when you think of it like that, it is kind of dark, but I have to fall asleep with the TV on just because I need to focus on something. Otherwise, I can kind of go over things a ton in my head, so I just need it to unwind, and I find the science behind how they catch them fascinating. If in another life, I would have loved to be a forensic scientist. Number 14, I am kind of a geek. I love smart people. I love to be around smart people. I love to learn things. Anything that I'm curious about, I constantly, one thing I do with my mentee, her name is Janine, is we play every week. I have her tell me, did you know, where she has to tell me something that I didn't know, and I have to tell her something, and then the next meeting she tells me what I told her and I tell her what she told me, just to help for like information retention. And I love that. And I constantly find myself, like, Keegan and I could be watching TV and I'll say, did you know that blah, blah, blah. I can think, oh, maybe that's annoying to be around, but it's just, you know, my dad, I would ask a question when I was younger and I'd say, you know, if space is black, then why is the sky blue? And my dad would tell me, look it up. And we had those Encyclopedia Britannicas and the World Books, and I would have to go look it up, bring it to dinner. My dad would open up dictionaries and look up 5 words and shut them, and I would have to find them, write down the definition, use them in a sentence, and then use them in a new sentence at dinner. I really think that those were like some building blocks to help me in life, and I think that that's awesome. So it's really given me a thirst now I want to know everything about everything. And last but not least, number 15 is I love milk. I drink a lot of milk. I drink skim milk now. I used to be on that 2% kick, but I had to scale it down because my nutritionist told me I was pretty much drinking my calories, what I was supposed to be eating for the day. So that is it, guys. If you have any other certain questions, let me know. I will do my best to answer them, or if I get enough questions, again, I'll do other videos down the road. I hope you guys feel like you know me a little better now. Thank you so much for tuning in, as always, guys. I truly, truly do appreciate each and every one of you, and you know, some of the things that you guys, the kind comments that you leave and the nice things that you say on Instagram and social media really do mean a lot to me. It does take a very kind of special person to encourage others and help them along their journeys, instead of, you know, any jerk can throw stones at other people. So all of you people that take your time out of your day to say positive and encouraging things, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.